Predictions. Welcoming on the line, we've got the fastest man in comedy, the host of Stay in Your Lane, former Olympic gold medalist. Well, actually, you're never a former Olympic gold medalist. You're just an Olympic gold medalist. You get to keep the thing. You don't have to give it back. You get to keep it. So Bernard Williams, Olympic gold medalist, joining us on the line. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Love it, man. Did you catch that Ravens game last night?
Yeah, that was a blowout, man.
Beastie had a lot of fun watching that. He wants to know if you can beat Lamar Jackson in a race today.
Yeah, absolutely.
He said he's smoking, Beastie.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
You open up some of those lanes for Bernard Williams, he'll be gone straight to the end zone, man.
Every run by him looks like a punt return.
You know, I'm more
straight to some hot wings.
I'm more interested who'd win a race, Bernard Williams or Scott Heeman.
I'm more interested in who would win a race, either today's guest for the final hour, Bernard Williams, or yesterday's guest, Mary Morgan, who climbed to the top of Everest. Who's winning a race to the top of Everest?
Oh, she's gonna win that.
That's right, because you're not going to go.
I'm not doing cold weather. Yeah, I'm not doing cold weather.
It's the heights for me.
I'm afraid of heights.
That and the $60,000 price tag to get there would be enough to shy me away. That's enough to shy me away. That's a pretty penny.
Yeah, buddy.
Hey, Bernard, let me ask you this. You've heard the old adage, yeah, and I guess it gets brought up the most in boxing. You ever hear women weaken the legs?
No, let me in on it.
Okay, so women weaken the legs, the idea being that you don't want to do the deed with your old lady the night before a major competition in any kind of sport, whether it be boxing, whether if, you got to be a catcher the next day in a major league game and you're going to have to do a little bit of squatting. You might want to keep the leg strength intact a little bit. Or maybe you got to go to the finals of an elite world championship race. You might want the legs working at top form. So do women weaken the legs is my question for you.
Well, I know from personal experience, I won the NCAA championships the night after, so it kind of helped me to relax a little bit.
I think I would agree with that. Maybe give you a little confidence too. You feeling good the day after? You in a good mood? All smiles. Is that the reason for the Bernard Williams Feeling Groovy video on YouTube when you were strutting down the lane?
Man, I'm telling you, it's all starting to come together.
I'm starting to see.
Yeah.
So let me tell you about this coach. Go ahead.
Because typically when it's the night before a big race, it's really hard for me to sleep because I'm so nervous and thinking about the race. And so there's been a few times where I actually did that, and then I was finally able to get some sleep, and I ran pretty good the next day. I won the next day.
I could see that. Hey, the night before a big show, so you get you a little sleepless night.
Are runners, are they? I never even thought about that. Are runners? I'm sure, baseball's superstitious. I mean, probably more than any sport.
But I've had coaches tell me if you want to be strong as you possibly can, to not do anything at all for like months and months. And I just never seemed to be able to try that.
Right.
Maybe that's why.
That's too much sacrifice.
Maybe that's why Michael Johnson was always so mean looking and aggressive.
Yeah, because he ain't getting none.
Hemo, what's your take on this? You're going to you gotta go catch the next day in a Major League Baseball game.
I think it's been proven that it's good for you.
Now, recently I've seen a case. I read that the coach had told his athletes not to do anything before the big game day for football.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking as a result, because he was saying something about you don't have to have a good performance in bed. You could have a poor performance in bed. You can do it as long as you have a poor performance in bed so you can save your energy.
Exactly. And I saw the same article. It's on brobible.com, and it's actually about a soccer coach. It's actually about a soccer coach who's from Inter Milan. He's the Inter Milan manager, Antonio Conte. And this is what he tells his players. He says, you don't have to abstain. You don't have to abstain. He says,
just don't give a World Cup champion effort.
exactly. You want to do this with, how does he put it? The least effort possible, and and preferably with your wife.
Right.
Because
see,
I get that.
Now, if the wife is unsatisfied, he's going to get the club sued by his wife because what if they get in a divorce and she's in court saying, well, he didn't satisfy me, and I blame this on his coach and the team because of our marriage, and now I want to be compensated for it.
and preferably with the wife, because let's say wife catches you with the mistress, then she's going to be chasing you, and you got to run, which is going to use even more energy. It's all about conserving the energy here.
But if you're going to have a bad performance, at least you can blame it on the coach.
This is true. You mean with the lady? You mean a bad performance with the lady? Hey, coach said, I'm sorry you didn't get there, love, but the coach said.
It's okay. It's all right.
Oh, my goodness.
So did you have any other things that you had to do, like little things like don't step on the line, or you got to skip a certain amount of times, or anything that you...
Yeah, do you not step on the lanes? Are there superstitions that you guys follow? Do you have a routine?
I know what you mean. You mean certain social idiocies. Yes, like a routine. Like right before we get in the blocks, I would do the same routine over and over so I can run consistent and run the same time. Idiosyncrasies. Yeah, that's what that's called. Idiosyncrasies.
I try and tell the players, if you do the same behaviors all the time, remember we used to call it biorhythms, right? You want to get your biorhythms together. So if you do the same stuff every time, then maybe your biorhythms will be the same every day or close to, and that would make your performance close to the same every day.
That makes so much.
My thing. Yeah, and that was my thing, because what I would like to do is I would like to clown and dance around. And so whenever I would dance around and have a good time, I would win. But the minute I became stone-faced and really serious about what I was doing, I put so much stress on myself that I lose. So I try to stay consistent with dancing.
It would tighten you up when you get all serious.
Quick,
I noticed the same thing when I'm going to a Florida Gator football game. That's one of the first things I look for in the pregame. As I look down to the sidelines, and they got the rock and roll music playing across the stadium, and you look down onto the field, and if the players, if they're going into a game against Alabama and they're nervous and they're stiff and they're tense and nobody's moving, they're just all laser focused, that's how I know it's going to be a bad day. If the team is loose and they're moving around and they're dancing and they're jumping around and they're feeling good, I'm like, okay, we got this today. It's my first indicator.
What are some of the things that you've seen out there from other track athletes that are some of the weirder stuff?
Yeah, who had the
seen?
weirdest superstition?
Well, I knew one guy. He used to have a glass of red wine before every race.
He had to be European, right?
Yes, he was from France.
Told you.
Good call.
Hey, a glass of red wine is like an hour of exercise, so maybe he was.
Yeah, but I remember another guy. He would wear the same socks that he had from high school.
Hopefully, he washed them.
Yes, he washed them. But they were tore up though. They were torn up though. They had holes in them and everything, man.
I wonder, you ever do anything like a lineman will eat liver and onions, get real stanky breath, and you try and blow something across to the next lane over, slow him down a little bit?
That's pretty funny.
Bernard, thanks for closing out the show with us. We always appreciate you checking in. Make sure you give us a call sometime this week, a little bit later. Want to wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving. For Colin, for Hemo, for myself, Robbie Shanks, we'll be back tomorrow.